Hey guys, Rogue here. Just wanted to make this quick video because it's something that a lot of people have basically asked me about on stream. Whenever I'm like talking to someone's channel, they talk about like what I play as a killer. It's like it's something I guess brought up a lot, and people are like, What the fuck?" And I'm like, it is what it is. And basically, that entire idea is just this whole idea of like how you play as killer and like what you run as killer and just different things like that. And essentially, like the big thing I'm talking about is like gen perks because anyone that doesn't, I literally don't run gen perks whatsoever. I don't run Ruin, I don't run Corrupt, I don't run Pop. I literally run no gens to do with gen regression. It's like I'll run Discordance the odd time or Surveillance, but like I actually don't run anything that's actually directly affects the rate at which a gen will regress. And at the same point, I try to proactively avoid tunneling and slugging and camping because, quite frankly, I just don't enjoy them. But I just wanted to basically go through this video and just, I don't know, put out my points for why I proactively don't do that. So the very first point for why I don't do that is, quite frankly, in my opinion, right now, Killer is the easiest it's ever been. I honestly cannot tell you a moment in time before where Killer has felt easier than it does right now. In terms of the game's actual health, it's like loops just feel a lot easier to deal with. Map changes just seem to benefit Killers a lot more, except for New Coldwind, because New Coldwind fucking sucks for Killer tracking. But for the most part as well, it's just, it feels like as perks come in, there's more and more from Killers that they can do to actually control the game and dictate the pace of the game. And it just feels like there's not that much that survivors can do that's brand new and comes out to actually prevent that. Being honest, like the last few DLCs, like Trickster's fun, but he can be boring to play against. Same with Blight, same with Destiny. It's like, it just feels like it's been a while since we've actually had a fun killer to play, which is something that a lot of people literally just go through and they just play whatever's efficient and that's it. So for me personally, it's like in 2021, Killer is literally the easiest it's ever been compared to 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. Like if you played Killer back in 2016 and you were doing well, you're literally stumping pretty much everyone every game because, well, all your shit's quicker, basically. The next one I just want to go on to is why, as a killer, would I then play in a way that, as a survivor, I would complain about? I feel like that's something that a lot of people do as if they play both sides. Is if they're playing survivor, they'll complain about how the killer plays, but then when they play killer, they play in that exact same way, and like use this justified with the logic of, well, if they can do it, why can't I? But it's that just seems to go around a circle, and it literally just breeds this horrible mentality of, well, if I face it, why don't I just you do it? And it's like, then you're making someone else's experience miserable, and it keeps going that way where neither side likes it. Like, who the hell wants to be tunneled, camped, and slugged as a survivor? Unless you're literally looking to just be chased all game, you're like, okay, yeah, I don't mind being tunneled. But it's like, that shit just, I don't enjoy playing it, and I don't like playing against it. So why the hell would I do any of that? It just makes no sense. It's like, the amount of times that I've literally had like a couple of people on the floor, and I've seen a third person, I could have gone for them. I've just not, because quite frankly, it's like I would rather the game be a little bit longer and just be a bit more fun. I literally, just to use an example, I had a game as Huntress the other day. I literally had 3 people down within the first minute of the match. And I was chasing the last person, and then I just kind of broke off chasing, just hooked people because I don't really want a match to end in about 2 minutes. It's just not fun for me. The next point then is literally, when people look at Dead by Daylight, a lot of the focus from the killer side of things is objectives. It's a case of, you need to have gen control, you need to establish a free gen, you need to do this, you need to that. And look, if you play in a way that's like you just want to keep your objectives safe, that's fair enough. I can't give you shit for that at all. But for me personally, the enjoyment in playing as killer is winning chases quickly. Like, that's my fun in it. That's why I'm not gonna camp people unless it's like there's no gens left, and it's like that's my only objective at that point. But it's like, I just don't find playing gen simulator that fun. Like, I would literally rather leave a gen like 90% and go and just chase that person a bit quicker. Like, I would prefer to do that. The amount of times that I'll literally just like forget gens, but it's like, if you could just, I personally find that if I just down people quickly and I get them hooked, like that in itself just applies pressure to people, which, look, it doesn't work out all the time. There will be times where people escape because of it. But for me personally, I just find chases way more enjoyable than the actual objective of the game, and it just kind of breeds into the whole concept of I just don't enjoy playing in a way that just feels unfun as a survivor to a degree. It's like if someone's literally just sitting on a gen over and over, it's like, I don't know, I find it annoying. One of the big points that a lot of people have for why they play the way they do is Swift. And I'm just going to say straight up, most Swifts you play against aren't toxic, competitive DBD Swifts. Like, I'm not being funny, but the amount of times that me and Hyperjinx will literally play duo Swift, people will literally say, oh, but you're a Swift, and we're like, but we don't have comms. Dude, we spend the first fucking 20 seconds of most games pointing at each other and waving at each other and teabagging. Like, that's what we do. And then people will be like, but you're so toxic. Like, at that point, I literally see what people say, and it's just like, okay, you're literally just looking for any reason to say that you didn't win the match. That's literally how it feels to me. But realistically, most survivors you go up against just aren't going to be that good. In the, like, what, 3 years I've played this game, like, consecutively now, I've gone up against less than 10 Swifts that I would say are, like, ridiculously god tier level. Like, it's just not a thing that's as common as people think. Most of the time, people will be randoming, and it's a case of there will usually always be 1 or 2 weak links in any team. It's a case of if you find the survivor's just really good at running you, ignore them. Go for someone that's a bit easier to chase if you feel like you're just getting absolutely smashed. Don't tunnel them. It's like if you're chasing someone, there's 2 people, and you're like, this person's easier to chase. Just play in a way that's just not shitty, and don't then complain that all survivors are too good. Because being honest, even against most Swifts, like 4-man Swifts, use that against them. If they're a Swift, they're going to be altruistic. Use that to predict where they're going to be. The amount of times I'll hook someone, see 2 people on barbecue, and I'll just know for a fact that our last person's waiting for the unhook. Sometimes I'll leave because, quite frankly, I'd rather go and just chase the people where I know where they are. But it's like, if I've got a good indicator of where that other person's going to be, then I'll look for them. But, like, I'm not actually going to sit there and just, like, scour the entire area for this one person who, for all I know, could have been a locker on the other side of the map. It's just a thing. But realistically, I'm going to say something, and I honestly feel like if you use this as a point for why your opinion matters, I'm just going to laugh at you. But I play at rank 1 a lot. Okay? Rank doesn't matter. If you say, well, I'm a rank 1 player, honestly, your opinion doesn't mean anything more to me than someone who's rank 10, dude. I'll be honest. Because the amount of times I play at rank 1, and there are people that literally will just crouch around the edges of the map, let their teammates die. They won't go for chases. They won't go front hooks. They will literally sit in the corner and let their team die. They can't do gens. They can't loop. They can't do pretty much anything. But yet, I'm seeing them sitting at rank 2 because they've got urban evasion and they just sit in the corner. Literally, most people aren't that good. Stop using it as an excuse for why you lost. One of the big things as well, this is something that's more come up recently because the rise of comp DBD, and I'll still laugh anytime I see a comp player because, quite frankly, I can't pay my bills with DBD competitive, so why would I take it as a competitive game? I just don't view DBD as a competitive game. I'm someone that very much subscribes to the mentality that DBD is a party game. It is designed for fun. It's designed to just have a bit of a laugh with your friends. That's it. There's nothing more to it. There's nothing less to it. It's just not a competitive game. If I wanted to play a competitive game, I would probably go and play something that's actually got competitive ranked elements to it, like Apex, or I haven't played it in forever, but Overwatch. Hunt is something that I actually find is more competitive than DBD, even though it doesn't actually have a competitive system. But, like, just those kind of games, if you're looking for a competitive game, I feel like are a lot better because there's more variables in it. There's more skill that goes into them. And I don't know. If I'm trying to play a competitive game, I just don't see DBD as that. So why would I take it so seriously? Like, I personally don't give a crap if a 4K, I could 3K, 2K, 1K, 0K. So, like, don't get right, if I get a 1k or a 0k, but it's because I played badly, I'll get frustrated, but that's not frustration at the game itself, that is frustration at me for misplaying a bunch. One of the reasons I do go for chases more than gen pressure is because literally it just feels like each game is a lot more varied because of it. Like the amount of times I'll go to a loop and like this survivor will run this loop differently to other people, whereas gens is just go up to it, hold in one, look around, run away. They're probably going to go back on the gen. It's going to get done anyway. So for me, I feel like I get more variation and more enjoyment, and I've been playing DVD as long as I have because of this kind of mentality with my playstyle. It's just the games feel a lot more fun. Now, because I'm not really caring about gens, there tends to be a lot more I either stomp teams or they tend to get the gens done, and then it's an end game situation where there might be 3 gens left, and it's like there is some competition to get those gens done. But I find that game more fun. I would rather a fast-paced game that where a lot of stuff can happen rather than a long drawn-out game where it's like you know you're gonna win. It's just a matter of time, and it's literally just a war of attrition. And quite frankly, the last point I'm just gonna put on it is in terms of the whole tunneling, camping, slugging, running gen perks. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't need to use those to win. I just never have. If I play, like, I literally got redeemed to play one of these recently, and I knew from the very beginning I was gonna win because, dude, if I can win a game without caring about gens, think about when I'm actually giving myself more time by kicking gens. It's just I don't ever need to actually use gen perks to win, which is actually gonna bring me onto when it's just something that I can use as like a backup for my point. So I recently played I think it's 166 games of killer DBD over the past 2 months. So when you work out the numbers, it's like there's 664 survivors that I faced over the course of that. 548 of them end up being kills, and 116 of those escaped. So like literally, it's basically more than a 4-to-1 ratio of kills to escapes. Now, 22 of those were via the hatch. I'm pretty sure if I went back and looked at the numbers, I think like 8 of them were me letting them out the hatch. But for me personally, like this is just something that I just look at when it comes to the hatch escapes and slugging for the 4K. I find the game more fun if I hook that third person and they die and there's that fourth person. I find the little bit of like, to use a DVD perk, the thrill of the hunt of like trying to find that hatch on the freaking map before the other person does. And it's like, who gets there first? Will I see them before they find the hatch? If I see them, do I go for them or do I look for the hatch? It's like, there's more stuff in it, and it just makes it a bit more intricate and like gives it that more variation. And plus, it gives you that horror movie element of like, this is the final girl, final guy. They need to get that hatch to escape. Will they get it? Won't they? It's like, there's more fun in it for me personally. I went into, look, I'm a stats nerd. I go into numbers a lot. So I went into it. Of the 166 games I played, 97 of those ended up in a 4K. Literally, over half my matches, I 4K'd. With no gen perks, with no tunneling, with no slugging, with no camping. Like, I don't know. I don't, like, I've had this discussion before with people. I don't view myself as like a literal god tier 10 out of 10 killer. I will say I'm a good killer. I'm a pretty damn good killer with some of them. But I don't view myself as god tier, and yet I can do this. Like, that honestly tells me more about the state of DVD right now. There's like, you can literally do so much without having to actually try that hard. And like, if you even go into it, it's like 38 of those were then 3Ks, 18 of them were 2Ks, 10 of them were 1Ks. I got a 0K 3 times. 2 of those were Trickster Adept challenges. Like, and this is across a variation of maps. I played pretty much every map on the rotation, pretty much. I played every killer except for, I think, like 4. I think it was like Deathslinger, Twins, Clown, and Blight. I think those are the 4 I didn't play. I played every other killer at least once. Now, some of them I found boring as hell, but like, that's a whole different story. just to kind of go into the different killers a bit more, basically the more higher end killers. The killer I played most, obviously, Myers. I'm a Myers main. I think I fucking love him. I think he's just a complete icon of the horror genre. And by the way, according to your favorite YouTubers, he's a D tier list killer. Yeah. I played 35 games with Myers, and this was all pretty much using my standard build, which is Save the Best for Last, Nurse Calling, Modern Abuse, a Barbecue and Chili with the Dead Rabbit and J. Myers Memorial. That's my standard build. I killed 129 people. 11 of them escaped. I don't know how many of them were hatches. I don't know what. But, dude, the tier list killer, 92.1% kill rate. Now, before anyone looks at all of that and says, okay, but you were probably playing against scrubs, the average rank of survivors I played against was 5.44. On average, I was playing against a high purple rank survivor. And I still end up with 3.684 kills per game. Like, that should tell you all you need to know about what kind of state DBD is for a killer. And you might think, oh, but you're a Myers main. Obviously, you're going to be really good with him. Huntress, someone I've been learning recently. The average rank of the survivors I went against was higher. It was 4.78. I played 27 games and got 93 kills. Like, literally, 93 kills, 15 people escaped. And I still had an 86.1% kill rate. Like, literally, 3.444 kills per game. Like, I'm not being funny, but that's a win pretty much every game, according to whatever metric people use. I know some people say, oh, a 2k is a draw, 3k plus to win. It's like, if that's the case, I'm winning pretty much every game with Huntress. And this is someone who I've only started to learn recently. Like, I could nail basic shots, but it's like, recently I've started to actually be able to learn how to hit long range shots, the trajectory, distance, all that, and it's something else. Then, like, probably the highest tier killer, Nurse, played 26 games, got 90 kills with her. So, literally, 90 kills, 14 escapes, 4.87 average rank. So, still, high purple. Most survivors I'm going up against are actually red ranks, because there would be the odd rank 16 or rank 15, because DBD matchmaking is great. That would literally just drop the whole average horribly. And literally 86.6% kill rate. Alright, this is probably one of the more interesting ones. So I played as Trickster a bunch, because Trickster came out, I wanted to get the Adept achievement. This was before I knew he was bugged, and also afterwards, so it's a bit of both. I played 17 games with him, got 39 kills. I still came out with a 2.296 kills per game ratio. Like, on a killer that I know nothing about. Now, there is obviously the counterpoint that people don't know how to play against him, but when you've got the amount of people coming out saying he is literally the worst killer in the game, and I'm still killing over half the people in the match, like, that tells you, like, the level that DBD is at right now. And by the way, highest average rank survivors I play against. I play against an average rank of 3.87. If I've got 4 people in my lobby, they're probably all red ranks. And then the last killer I'm going to look at, just round up like a top 5, because, oh no, that seemed appropriate. I played 10 games as Wraith. I got 31 kills. So I literally still had a 77.5% kill rate. And again, before anyone says, but they were all scrubs, average rank was 4.275. He was closer to red ranks than Nurse, Huntress, or Myers. And I'm still killing over 3 people per game on average. Now, there is this little sheet up here as well. There's like a full list of all the killers, how many kills I got, kill percentages. It's like, literally, I think my worst killer was like Legion, and it's because, quite frankly, I hate Legion. I don't enjoy playing them. I only play them because I like the bunny skin. That's pretty much the only reason. I played one game as Ghostface, where I literally tried to proactively use his Silk power to get the expose effect, and that's just not my natural style to play, so I kind of fucked up there. But it's like, I don't know, like, there's so many killers that you can play and still just do stupidly well with them. It's kind of ridiculous, to be honest. So if we're looking at like the total metrics for all of it, literally, I played 166 games, 548 kills, said that earlier. The average rank of survivors I played against across all 166 games was 4.85. So, like, literally, high purple that we're looking at there. Like, closer to red ranks than we are to green ranks. And I still had an 82.5% kill rate. Like literally, average per game, 3.3 kills per game. And I played pretty much every killer. And the killer I played the most is seen as one of the weaker killers in the game. But like, I don't know. I feel like that just helps to back up the point of like why I feel like I personally don't need to use gem perks. Like if you're learning killers and that, like you might need them because like you're literally being blasted out in the space of a few minutes. But I know a bunch of people that are like playing killer and they're not using gem perks and they're learning killer, and honestly, they're actually doing really well, to be honest. Like I said, I'm a stats nerd. I did kind of look into the numbers a little bit more. It's like the perks that I use, because some people might be like, oh, but you use like this perk, use that perk. I use literally no slowdown perks. No gen perks. I didn't use Sloppy Butcher. I didn't use Chorophobia. I use literally nothing that slows down the actions of the survivor. In the 166 games I played, I used Barbecue and Chili 144 times. Now, that number would have been dropped because of I played 16 Adept Trickster games because I just really wanted to get that achievement done. Nurse is called 104, Save the Best for Last 76, Whispers 64, Blood Warden 51, and Mono Abuse 43 times. So those are the most common perks I use. There's very little variation across what perks I use a lot of the time. Like I tend to rotate the same like 7 or 8 of them. And like to be honest, it just works out for me. I just find what ones suit me best as a killer, what ones I enjoy playing the most, and it just kind of rocks in on that. But that's basically just like what I wanted to go through. Because so many people will say, "Oh, he doesn't run gem perks, he doesn't run so." That's like, and they're like, "What?" Quite frankly, I don't need to. And to be honest, I feel like a lot of people that take DVD competitively and seriously, and they're like, "I need to 4K." Realistically, you could 4K without having to do any of those. There was that. Like, you don't need to tunnel, you don't need to slug, you don't need to camp. And quite frankly, not every survivor you're going up against is a sweaty comp, highly competitive, will ruin your life if you so much as sniff the same fucking scratch marks as them. Yeah, that's pretty much all I want to say. I hope you have a good night, and see you later.